So, Nicole, are you all ready for your first day on the Pizza Hut team?
I suppose. I'm still a little nervous, though.
I understand. It's all right. Everyone's a little nervous their first day. I'm sure you'll feel better once we get started. Now, I know that there's a lot to do, but we'll try to make it as easy for you as we can. Before we go any further, I want to spend some time talking about something very important: safety. Making it safe is extremely important. We don't want to see any of our employees get hurt.
Is that what the station guide's about?
Right. We'll be using this guide as we discuss some important safety principles. We do everything we can around here to avoid accidents, as you'll soon see.
Like what?
Boy, you are eager. That's good. First of all, your shoes. You have the right kind on. Sturdy leather uppers, soft, non-slip rubber soles. Soft rubber-soled shoes give the best traction on wet floors. Just make sure you wear them whenever you come to work.
Okay.
Making it safe means making it the B.E.S.T. Best.
B.E.S.T. What does that stand for?
Well, in terms of working the safe way, the letters stand for back, equipment, slips and falls, and time to take care. You may not realize this, but those 4 little letters cover the most important points of safety at Pizza Hut and the way to prevent accidents.
Really?
You bet. Now, let's start with B for back.
Okay.
All right, you may not realize this, but there is a lot of materials and equipment around here that weigh a lot more than you might think. Like, take that fresh batch of dough, for instance. Bobby, Julie, the dough's ready to come out. Could you come here for a second? Julie, this is Nicole, and Bobby, I think you two already know each other.
Hi, Nicole.
Hi, Nicole.
Hi, Julie.
Could you two please show Nicole the best way to get our dough onto the prep table?
Sure.
You bet.
How's it going?
So far, so good.
Now that batch of dough can be very uncooperative. You can lift it yourself or with someone else. Always use proper lifting procedures. Bend your knees, lift with your legs, and keep your back straight. We'd rather see safe employees than injured heroes around here. You're looking at a couple of real pros at work, but there are other things here that are just as heavy as that dough bowl. At Pizza Hut, we buy canned goods and produce by the case. Now those cases can get pretty heavy by themselves, but there is a solution. Unpack cases of canned goods like tomato concentrate, black olives, mushrooms. Remove them one at a time for stacking. And if you can't do that, put the whole case on the second shelf from the bottom.
Right. Anything else?
Oh yes, frozen foods come in cases too. But if you handle those the same way, you should be making it safe. Stacks of pizza pans, heavy buckets of ice, it's all just common sense and staying aware. Like I said earlier, it can get pretty hectic around here during rush times, and it's tempting to take shortcuts when you're busting your tables.
What do you mean?
Well, when you're in a hurry, make sure that you don't overload the bus tub. Keep it light. Make more trips if you have to. And remember, use those legs. Oh yes, one more thing. The trash cans. At the end of the day, we throw out any pan dough that we didn't use. Now that can make the trash cans pretty heavy. How would you handle that?
Well, personally, I'd ask for some help. But if I did do it alone, I'd use the proper lifting procedures to carry the cans. Say, where do they go?
We put those in the dumpster out back. That's good, you're on the right track. Now, just a couple of other things. When you put the dough in the trash cans, make sure that you don't put it all into one can. And when you go out to the dumpsters, look out for sharp edges. There are security procedures that we follow when we're taking out the trash, but I'll talk more about that later. Now, I have to go up front for a second, so why don't you go over there? Julie's just getting ready to prep some vegetables, and I'll be right back.
Okay.
Thanks, Julie. I'll take over for a minute.
Okay, sure.
This is the slicer. It fits on the front of the dough mixer. That blade is razor sharp, but used properly, it really speeds up prep work. Let me show you a few simple steps to protect yourself while you're using it. Never reach into the slicer or push veggies in with your hands. That's what the feed arm is for. Press and hold the stop button to activate the brake, and make sure it's completely stopped moving before you take it off for cleaning. Even when the blade isn't moving, like when you're cleaning it, be very careful. There is no excuse for being in a hurry around this slicer. That's part of making it safe.
Got it.
Thanks, Julie.
No problem.
An often overlooked part of our equipment is our cleaning solutions. Always be sure to read the labels carefully and follow the precautions. You can ask your manager if you want to see the material safety data sheet on any materials we have.
The material safety data sheet, what's that?
Oh, that's information about our cleaning solutions. It's put out by the manufacturers. Just ask if you want to see it. We also use knives for slicing by hand. We store all of our knives in the knife rack. When slicing, always give the task your full attention. Cut horizontally, finishing with the tip. Hold your work firmly. Keep your eyes on the blade, and cut only as close as is comfortable for you. Keep your eyes open, watch out for your hands. This holds true for the rocker knife too, and any knife that you use. You know, we've been covering some potentially dangerous equipment. Dangerous if you don't pay attention to what you're doing. If an accident ever would happen to you or a fellow employee or even to a customer, be sure to tell your manager immediately. Now, making it safe is important around the dough mixer too. The way to make dough... Hey, wait a minute. I've got a real expert here. Let him tell you how to be safe around the dough mixer.
Pop quiz, boss?
You got it.
This dough hook can be pretty unforgiving. It's a lot more powerful than it looks. So when you're making dough, make sure that the machine is off when you start and finish. Now, never ever reach your hand in the mixer while it's on. Now, you may think that you can reach in there and check the dough and still manage to beat the hook. Wrong. That hook is as quick as it is powerful, and it can hurt you in no time if you give it the chance.
I'll never reach in there when it's running.
Smart thinking. Remember that it takes time to make dough. I mean, the same amount of time whether you're rushed or taking it easy. So you got nothing to gain and a bunch to lose.
Well, that's obvious.
Glad you see it that way.
Nicole, there's a few other things I'd like to show you around the prep area. This is the dough roller. We use it to roll all kinds of dough. Bobby, why don't you give us a demonstration?
All right.
That safety bar is designed to protect your fingers. Make sure it's working correctly every time you roll dough. When you're done, make sure it's unplugged before you clean it. Thanks, Bobby. We use a lot of electrical equipment here at Pizza Hut, so it's important that you know how to use it safely to avoid shocks. For example, we never use extension cords in the restaurant. Besides being a hazard that you could trip over, they could be undersized and cause a dangerous electrical overload. Our equipment power cords are another matter. They need to be checked periodically for wear. This includes loose plugs and receptacles too. If you notice something suspicious, just tell me and we'll have it repaired. An electrical problem could cause a shock or even lead to a fire.
A fire? That doesn't ever happen, does it?
Well, the possibility is remote, but you need to know what to do anyway. First of all, notify another employee immediately so we can get the whole team into action. Then, know the location and operation of the fire extinguishers. There are several located around the restaurant. To use the extinguisher, pull the pin, point the hose at the base of the fire, and press the handle in short bursts. Well, that takes care of B and E.
Back and equipment. What's... Oh yes, S. Slips and falls, right?
You catch on fast. S is for slips and falls, and prevention is the key. Now, the thing that's most likely to cause a slip is a wet or greasy floor. And we prevent greasy floors by mopping them down with the correct solution once a day. It's one way to be sure the floor is clean and safe. People can slip on just about anything. A Pepsi spill, a greasy spot on the floor, even a cherry tomato. So it's vitally important that you keep the floor clean and picked up. Pay special attention to the sink area, around the salad bar, and the service station area. You're not just looking out for yourself here. Our customers can slip just as easily as our employees.
Yeah.
Customers have a right to expect when they come into the restaurant that it's safe. So part of making it great means keeping the restaurant safe for our customers. Always keep your eyes open when you're in the front of the house for things like tears in the carpet or wet floors when it rains.
Say it rains and the floor is wet. What should I do?
Get a mop and clean up the floor. Then place one of our trusty wet floor markers in plain view. And the same holds true for the back of the house. Now, falls can be prevented in pretty much the same way. Something like a bus tub left out can be really hazardous. And even a vacuum cleaner cord can really trip you up. So just stay alert and pick up anything that isn't supposed to be on the floor.
I'll keep a sharp lookout. So I guess it just leaves T. Take care?
Close. Time to take care. In case you haven't noticed, that's what we've really been talking about all along. Making it safe means taking the time to follow procedures. And that's important no matter how busy we get. Walk, don't run. Don't throw things around. Handle them carefully. Let me show you. You remember those knives that I showed you earlier? Well, it's important when you use one to always wash, rinse, and sanitize it immediately. Never put a knife under suds where it can't be seen. Somebody could get a really nasty cut reaching into a sink full of dishes and discovering a sharp knife. So always wash them separately and then put them out in plain view. Be careful when you're handling boiling water. If you're cooking pasta or even just heating it, be sure and always use a glove or a towel before you lift the lid. And if you're carrying a pot of hot water, be sure and sing out so everybody knows it. Take the time to carefully move hot pizza pans from the oven to the cut table. Keep the hot pans away from the cooler ones, and be sure to let everyone know which are the hot pans. Nothing is more important than your safety. These procedures I've been talking about are for your protection. Just keep in mind the word BEST. Back, equipment, slips and falls, and time to take care. I can't say it enough. Shortcuts only lead to accidents. Work quickly, work efficiently, but first and foremost, work safely. Now let's go over some of our company's security policies. Take this peephole, for instance. During the day, use it to see who's out there. Deliveries come to the back door. Be sure to get an ID from the delivery person. But this door stays closed at night. If somebody knocks on the door, tell them to go around to the front. Here, when we take the trash out after dark, 2 people must go, and then we never take the trash out after closing. Oh, and about closing, 2 people must remain in the restaurant at all times.
That sounds a lot safer than being alone.
It is. That's why after the restaurant is closed, or before it opens, no one is allowed in except for another scheduled employee. Not family, not friends, nobody.
It's good to know that Pizza Hut cares about those things.
We do care, and that's why we have a set procedure for going out to our cars at night. It's outlined there in the station guide. So here's what we do. After we close, when the store is ready to be locked up, the first person to leave goes to his or her car. A second person watches from the door. The first person positions his car, motor running and lights on, in order to see all the remaining closers leave the restaurant. Since someone's always watching, they could call the police at the nearest phone if anything unusual happened.
There sure is a lot to think about.
That's right. That's why we always follow safety and security procedures to the letter. It's extremely important. It's critical that you know how to handle yourself in a potentially dangerous security situation.
You don't mean a robbery, do you?
Yes, I do. We hope it never happens, but if we are robbed, you need to be prepared to know how to react, just in case. Here's what I've trained our people to do. Pizza Hut's policy is, do whatever the robber tells you to do. You must cooperate thoroughly. Don't try to reason or argue with the robber. Do tell him about other employees in the restaurant who might startle him. That will get him out of the restaurant and you out of danger as quickly as possible. And don't touch anything after he's gone. Your life and the lives of the other people in the restaurant, either fellow employees or customers, are what's important. As soon as the robber leaves, tell your manager and call the police immediately.
Boy, that sounds really terrifying. Now, is there anything we can do to prevent it from happening?
Yes, there is. First of all, greet every customer the minute they come in.
Okay.
Make eye contact. Potential robbers don't like to be noticed. And also, be aware of people who come in and sit for hours without ordering anything more than, say, a cup of coffee. And always be on the lookout for suspicious people hanging out in the parking lot for no apparent reason. If you see anyone like that, tell your manager right away.
I sure will. I'll do my part to make it safe.
Way to go. Making it safe is making it great.